All right, today we're going to look at the differences between buying a package of bees or buying a nucleus hive. What are the differences? Well, a nucleus hive comes with 5 frames of bees that are already established, basically. So the queen has been in here, laying brood, raising brood. They've got resources stored up, honey, pollen, and the box is most generally full of bees. Whereas a package of bees comes with about 3 pounds of bees. And these bees have come from possibly multiple different hives. And the queen bee, which is strapped to this little piece of plastic, but she's inside in a separate cage, the queen bee isn't established with these bees. She may have been raised totally separate in a separate hive and put into that cage and then introduced to these random bees. And that's why she's in her own cage, because these bees don't recognize her and they may try to kill her thinking that she's an intrusive queen to their hive. So by putting her in that cage and keeping her separate, it allows these bees to acclimate to her over a few days. Now, generally a nuke box or nucleus hive you would go buy from a local beekeeper or a local store, or whoever sells them locally. Whereas a package can come from anywhere in the country. And this package here came from Georgia, and I'm in West Virginia. So the bees have been in transit for 2-3 days. And bees live for about 40 days, that's their lifespan. So a lot of the bees you see in the bottom here are bees that have lived out their lifespan at this point and have died. Also, the longer they're in here, the more likely they are to perish. So they definitely need to come out of this box, and they need to come out of it soon. Now, whereas a nucleus hive has resources already stored up and is an established, well-running hive, these bees have to have a food source while they're in transit. So in the middle here, underneath this wooden piece, is a metal can, something like you would have green beans in. It's totally sealed, and inside that can it has sugar water. And the can hangs from the top here and hangs about midway down. And in the bottom of the can are little pinholes. And that sugar water can be right there in those little pinholes, and the suction in the sealed can keeps the water from dripping out. But the bees can come up there and lick at that sugar water and be able to get food and care for their queen and care for themselves to some extent. But it doesn't last very long, and they run out very quickly. So once you get this hive, first thing you want to do is get them into their own hive box and get going. Now, whenever you buy a package of bees, you're basically starting from scratch. So you have to have a brand new hive box with empty frames that don't have any drawn comb on them, stuff that you just bought. And so you'll be putting that in there, and then you'll be dumping these bees in there. And right off the bat, they don't have anything to live with. So they have to go and forage to find nectar and pollen. So while they're doing that, you have to continue to feed them until they become established. So you would have to mix up a 1-to-1 sugar water and give them something that they can eat to keep them going while they establish their hive. Whereas a nuke box, you can take these frames directly out and put them down into a new hive body and add another 5 frames, or if you're doing an 8-frame box, you can have 5 established frames right off the bat. And so all the bees have to do is to continue to expand inside that hive rather than starting from scratch. The way I look at it, if you can get a nuke box, you're better off. This here I would call a last resort. And where I'm at, I don't know anyone local that sells nucleus hives. I'm sure there are people around here that do, but I just don't know any personally. So I ended up buying a couple of these packages. Not my preferred way, but it's what I did this year. So, all right, so let's get a close-up look at the bees inside this package, so you can kind of see what's going on in there. They're all clustered around the sugar water can that's right in there. And then also the queen cage is hanging right down here against that can. So they're all around that queen cage, keeping her cared for. Now, there is a lot more perished bees in the bottom of this than I would like to have for sure. So they definitely need to be getting out of this box ASAP. Now let's have a look at this nucleus hive. As you can see, the bees have been in here busy pulling out wax and working on these frames. So I'm not going to get in here and disturb them, but you can see this hive is well established and ready to go. All you'd have to do is take these frames out, put them into a full-size hive, and you're good to go. All right guys, so there you have it, the difference between buying a package of bees and buying a nucleus hive. Now I will say that a nucleus hive is more expensive than buying a package of bees. A package of bees can run you from $130 to $150 around where I live, and like I say, these came from Georgia, whereas a nucleus hive can be $200 to $250 depending. And the reason for that is you have an established hive here. It's ready to go. You're off and running from the start. You don't have to baby them along like you do a package of bees. So you're really paying for that added value and that ease of getting started. So I hope that this helped you understand. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down there. I'll read every comment and I'll answer you for sure. Also, if you like this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. I've got plenty of videos and I've got more on the way. I'm going to be doing a video about installing these into a hive, and I'll post that right up here whenever it's said and done. So be sure and stick around, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.